flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Stanley, do you want to hold us with a word of prayer?
Our Heavenly Father, we're thankful today for another day of life. Thankful, Lord, for each one that's around this table today to make the decision to lead the county. Father, we ask your blessings upon each one. Ask that you would bless each one that's here tonight, and Lord, those that's lost loved ones, that's sick in hospitals, nursing homes. Just be with them, Lord, and comfort them as only you can. Be with us tonight, Lord, in this meeting. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Well, as you know, this is a group of people that tries to run the county government and try to do a good job of it. And every now and then we get accused of doing a good job, but we do try to serve the people the best that we can. I think everybody believes that. Randy, you ready?
Yes, sir. Denzel Potter. Here. John Brown.
Here.
Stanley Rigsby.
Here.
Brandon Evans.
Here.
Anthony Likens. Here. Stanley Franklin.
Here. All right, you need to hear the approval of the last minutes.
We got the minutes in the mail, so I'll make a motion, we approve.
Okay, second?
Second.
All right, Anthony made it and Stanley seconded, all in favor? Aye. Now, Miss Irene, you want? Got it?
Yeah.
Got a copy of it, okay? We got a manual. Irene always right on the ball, got these reports right here before us. Anything need to be added or taken away from, or that stand approved read of her report? So I hear,
I have a question.
Yes,
about, someone was asking me the other day, and maybe Irene knows more about it than I do, about the money for the fire department.
Well, I mean, what about it?
Like the money that they get every year, do you know?
Oh, the state aid?
Yeah.
The only thing that I can tell you, they get $10,500 state aid. But this year they've changed it and it won't pay, I think it's up to $2,000 on the insurance for the building. And that's not enough to even start.
you say they will get then $2,000 to pay toward their insurance?
Up to $2,000
Okay.
to pay on the yearly insurance.
And is,
Through the state, well, with the state aid money.
is it mandatory that they apply that to insurance property?
No, not necessarily.
To buy equipment with it, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Is that besides the 10,500, or is
No,
that included in it?
it's included.
Okay. All right.
And y'all, that's not much money to run a department on a year.
Well, we did hear today that there was a load of coal about to come out of the May branch up there, so if you get a little coal money, get selling some coal, would have some severance tax maybe.
Yep.
Or if you go co-producing, don't you think?
Pardon?
If you go co-producing, you get
Yeah,
more.
yeah, if you got a wheelbarrow load, they'll give you a little money on it.
Yeah.
I get that done. Get some chemical.
Well, deep mines up our Channel City.
I can get that much in one day's time. Get down,
Just that good white old coal, it'll pay off good.
Yeah.
there is a vein of coal probably.
Well, our floodplain coordinator, he's not with us tonight, but I don't know of anything that's come up. Our road supervisor's not here either, but they have done some things. I think they finished mowing all the right-of-way out over the county for now. I believe he told me that this week. And they've been pulling some ditch lines. And I think one big project they worked on the Rube Woods this past week. Robin's not with us tonight. She, I don't know if she fractured her finger or not, but she got it hit down there yesterday trying to keep a ball off a little kid. Threw her hand up like that. The ball hit it on the end of her finger. She had a bad looking finger, but they didn't think it was broken, but they don't know. She's got a splint on it, kind of protect it. Okay, Mr. Treasurer, you want to talk to us?
Yeah. I have a packet ready for you. On the settlement, I forgot to print an up-to-date financial statement, but we're fairly close in with this. Our reconciled balance, our cash balance in the general fund, $471,192.18. The road has $598,924.40. Jail has $57,177.02. LGEA has $25,741.05. Forestry has $62.91, and Special Projects has $83,966.24, and that's as of May 31st. And it's not going to be much different on a current statement. I did forget to print that. So there's that, and I've got a list of budget transfers to be approved, just getting at the year end, so there's just odds and ends to tie up, nothing huge, nothing out of the ordinary. Just got a list of them. I need a motion to approve those.
You want to include in that the treasurer's report as well?
I'll make that motion.
Anthony's made it, I hear a second.
Second.
Stanley seconded, all in favor? Aye.
These budget transfers were current, so they cover everything through current, what was encumbered in our monthly bills this month. The appropriation condition report reflects that completely already, so that's good. Something else, I didn't bring to do the second reading of the budget because we have other things to address as far as changes being made, so we will have a special meeting to do the second reading of the budget. And I think that's it for me.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, this is stuff on the back of our agenda, so we thought we was gonna get by with a short sheet, but I'm afraid the backside's longer than the front sheet. We've been gaining ground the wrong
You
way.
saved a sheet of paper, though.
Yeah, that's right, we saved part of a tree.
Part of a tree.
Okay, we need to talk about the ambulance budget.
Just need to approve the budget.
All right, and it's, I assume it's in here?
Yeah, everybody's got a copy of it.
Okay. You had a chance to look at it yet? If so, do I hear a motion that we accept this ambulance budget?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Angela made it, John seconded, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the next thing is the ambulance loan agreement. I guess there's a copy of that somewhere in our
The resolutions.
resolution. here.
Everybody's got a copy of the resolution.
Okay.
What this is where we're just being a pass-through for them to get a new ambulance and to get a loan. We have to help financially back them. We do it with all their others. They're down 2 ambulances right now. And so everything is ready to go. It just needs approval and it's the resolution passed and
We're just a pass through.
yes.
So moved.
Yes.
So moved.
John made it and Brandon seconded, all in favor? Aye. Do we have a copy of the agreement between us and city in Aquinas Park. But boom.
Yes.
Should be in there, sure, here, somewhere. I don't think there's any change in this resolution between us and this
Same one that's passed every year.
same one we've had, and the Aquinas Club. And,
I'll make that motion.
okay, Anthony's made the motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Danny second. All in favor? Aye. Okay. We did get a call today that said that somebody had a metal detector was up in the Treadway Park hunting for metal. They thought that we owned that park up there, but the park belongs to the Aquinas Club. So we didn't have anything to do with it, and I don't think anybody was really up there doing anything, you know, hurting anything, but maybe they thought there was something there that they could find. But that park does belong to Aquinas. Okay, the AOC refunding it, that is, I thought it was refinancing, but they referred to it as refunding, correct? You got something you want to say to us?
Sure.
Tell them who you are.
I will. R.J. Palmer with Compass Municipal Advisors. Also serve as the financial advisor for CAECO, their bond pool. Judge, thank you, members of the court. Appreciate it. I'll give you a quick one-page summary. The refunding is in regards to your judicial center. Requires a resolution by the fiscal court and a resolution by the Public Properties Corporation, as well as approval from AOC. The little one-page savings summary you have shows under the blue column, prior bonds, what you're paying now. Under the red column, what we think we can issue the debt at currently, and then the far right-hand side, the net savings, $181,621. The county receives 10% of the savings. That would be $181,000 to basically to the taxpayers of the Commonwealth, because that would be a reduction in what AOC has to pay for their debt service on the existing judicial center. Because you all are actually owners of the building, and you have a lease with AOC, you have to issue the debt. So in order for you to do that, AOC incentivizes you by giving you 10% of any of the realized savings. So under this scenario, the county would receive a little over $18,000. If you look under your net savings amount over here, you'll see that there's a present value percentage right there. It says 2.7%. AOC typically wants this ratio to be about 5%. But I met with Lindsay and the judge a few weeks ago, kind of walked them through this process, and made the suggestion that since it is just two resolutions, that we go ahead and get things teed up. And that way, should the market move in our favor, we can execute more quickly with the approval of the judge and AOC. That number, if it gets up to 5%, it's going to be more like $300,000. So it's more like $30,000 to the county. And if you look under the red column, you'll see in 2018 and 2019, there's a 0 and a 0 in the principal amount. It's because you're actually investing those dollars until the call date comes in 2020. And the closer we get to that date, the more our savings are probably going to go up. So it's a little preliminary, but we wanted to make you aware of it. We can execute the transaction again at the direction of the judge and AOC once these two resolutions are passed.
Well, the people you work with, how do they feel about the market? Do they think it's going up or down, or stay kind of level like it's been, or they can't tell for sure, I know.
You're right. I don't have a crystal ball, but it's pretty level right now. You know, for instance, you know, we've looked at this. If rates stayed the same till this time next year, that savings is going to go up to close to that 5%. If rates were to rally, it's going to be well over that 5% threshold. It's just something that we'll need to continue to monitor. We actually have, we've done 8 of these this year for counties across the state. We've got a couple more to do, and once we do those, we'll have a little better feel once again for where the market is and how they're perceiving this state issuance. Actually, the day that we met with you, Judge, was the day that they changed the assumptions on the pension liability for the state, and we saw an uptick in rates for state debt the very next day. It's already kind of come back a little bit, so it's very fluid, and there's no obligation to the county. If we don't execute a transaction, the county's out nothing, AOC is out nothing. This just sets the process in motion so that should things get to where everybody approves, we can execute the transaction.
Who would have thought that the rates had stayed where they are for as long as they have, the last, what, 7 or 8 years?
Yes, sir.
Everybody predicts, yeah, they go up, but they've not changed.
No,
So,
they've not, and actually, you know, the Fed rate has been raised twice in the last year. The first rate increase that the Fed instituted for what we would call a prime rate, bond rates actually went down. So, you know, a lot of times they don't move together necessarily. So, you know, something could happen, you know, if there's some volatility in the stock market, typically we'll see a dip in bond rates because people will leave investing in stocks to something more secure like bonds, and that'll drive yields down. So, you know, again, I don't have that crystal ball, but this will allow us to at least be ready to execute should things turn more in our favor.
anybody got any questions to ask this gentleman? I hear that we, motion that we adopt this.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
You needed approval by the Public Properties Corporation as well?
Yes, sir.
Always in the past, we've closed this, went to Public Properties meeting, opened it, did whatever motion needed to do, and then adjourned the Public Properties meeting and went back to fiscal court session.
That is it can't be done that way. It's up to the discretion of the court. You can do it after the fiscal court meeting, because both are 2 resolutions, one for the court and one for the Public Properties Corporation. That's completely up to you all. Some people do recess their court meeting because the members of the court are the members of the PPC. Call that meeting to order, pass that resolution, adjourn it, and then go back into your court meeting.
Do it at the end,
Let's wait until the end, that'd be all right.
but the fiscal court can go ahead and vote now.
Yeah. We've had a motion made, Dan, would you make the motion?
Yeah.
You second, John? All in favor? Hold the like sign.
And what we had talked about with this is just they monitor it and they'll tell us when they think the best time is to go ahead and execute on it.
And I talked with you about that, I did mention before, we can establish kind of a threshold or a baseline that the court would like to try to achieve.
Real property.
And then we'll monitor it, and then if it gets close to that, we'll notify the judge. Do you still want to execute? I mean, say it's, you know, you'd like to get a return of $25,000 from the savings from the court. We can do that, and it's going to be close to that to get to the 5% in order to satisfy what AOC requires anyway. So, but we'll continue to watch it for you.
AOC requires at least 3%, right?
At least 3. Typically, they like 5. But I've seen them approve actually a little less than 3. It depends on, you know, kind of what the situation is. And it's kind of like the old saying, you know, bird in the hand's better than 2 in the bush. If rates are going up, but you've got 3% savings, why wouldn't we take it? We're still saving taxpayers and you all money. So, you know, it becomes, you know, kind of a financial question, and we'll be here to kind of help you weed through that, determine what might be best for you.
Well, we can stand to save a little money,
Yes, sir.
by all means.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay. This other item here has to do with our waste tar grant agreement. Let's see.
It's just the same thing that we do every year, it's the
Approval to apply
$4,000.
for it.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
John made it, Stanley seconded, all in favor? Aye. Senator Bradley has agreed to come back and help us write our grants and our waste agreements. And we have, let's see, the contract hasn't been sent and we haven't gotten it back yet.
Right.
So the contract would be contract labor if she's going to help us write these grants and so forth. So we haven't received that back yet.
We haven't got approval from Kentucky Retirement. She's willing to come back either way. If they approve her as contract labor, then we would pay her out of the general fund instead of her coming out of the payroll account. And she would be responsible for her taxes and all that stuff. And it works better for her with her retirement, her hours, stuff like that. But if they don't approve it, she agreed to come back as a retiree-hire, which means we would pay, I think it's depending on the hours, I think we pay match on her at the most. And what we need to do is just approve to bring her in on the contract. The contract was left blank on her pay rate and how she used to be paid, which would be bi-weekly. And what we discussed is bringing her back on what she was paid. It's part-time position, it's not full-time position, so we don't have to worry with benefits and all that either way. So,
Well, it's a great big job to keep up with all that stuff. I mean, it's just a full-time job, meeting all the criteria that has to be met with that. So I think if she'd be willing to come back, we'd be glad to have her back, or lucky to have her back, I guess you'd say.
What did you say she was gonna be doing?
she will be a solid waste coordinator, well, it's an advisor on solid waste and grant writing, basically. I'll have them look at that. And she would just be in here as needed basis, you know, if she had some downtime, there wasn't anything for her to do, just depending on the needs to have her.
Any more questions about it? Or do I hear a motion, we accept this? Approval of it?
I'll make that motion.
The
Anthony's made
motion
it.
will need to state her pay rate.
Okay.
I say we need to wait till closed session and discuss that then, don't we?
Whatever she left out, I guess. Is that
That's what
correct?
we had
That's
discussed.
what we
was
discussed.
payment.
That's fine with me.
All right,
Second.
all right. Anthony made it, Brandon seconded. All in favor?
75.
Aye.
All right. Okay,
Sir Brandon.
moving right along, Mr. Evans. You got something?
Yeah, the water haul over in Ezel, it's been down for roughly 2 years. The water board don't have the money to fix it. Of course, we didn't have the money there for a while, so. And our farmers and some of our residents need that. They have to drive all the way to West Liberty, and it's already over there, and it needs to be fixed. Kyle got a quote from someplace in, I believe it's Cincinnati. It's gonna be $6,265, I believe is what it was.
Is that for pumps?
Yeah, there's a list.
Some sort of a valve, but
There was a valve, I think, well, what happened, the valve froze and busted. I don't know if, I'm not sure while it froze and busted. I guess the heater or something hadn't been turned on.
Probably got cold, didn't
And
it?
it got, yeah, and 2 years ago, it got cold. But I've got let's see, I didn't make a copy of it, but I've got the list of all the parts itemized here with the cost. And it was total of $62.65. And I have spoke with Kyle about the water board, discussing maybe they can help us out with the cost too. I don't know what they can do. He's gonna talk to him Monday.
Is that an install price? I mean, they can
That's
put this
them.
piece in for that
Yep.
kind of money?
Yep. That's them coming down and repairing it.
Well, it is a good service to the people, and I know that a lot of the farmers use it, particularly in the fall of the year when the water gets scarce for their animals. It is a good thing.
Yep. I make a motion, we do that.
Second.
All right. All in favor? I think the
Do you want
best.
to include in that motion, pay invoices upon receipt?
I guess that'd be
Yeah, see what the
okay.
water board's gonna do on their part.
To see if they're.
Okay. So just approve to fix up.
Talking about the water board, Brooklyn Cemetery Road, did they get pumps up for that?
They were working on it day after I talked to you. And I don't, as far as I know, they got it going again. I haven't heard anything Bill said about it.
I would do it as paid up for receipt. Because are we gonna fix it even if they don't pay a portion? Or you want me to
They fixed it up my way a while back, mine's already back down again.
Is that right?
It lasted about 2 weeks maybe.
See, they put a pump on
Well-
Brooklyn Cemetery Road that lasted
Approve
about
the
2
monthly
days.
bills, because I'm sure it ain't gonna get fixed in
Yeah. That works.
if it is that quick, we'll do a special meeting on the second reading budget.
Okay, the next item is workers' comp, the policy that we need to renew. And I guess everybody's got a copy of it. Is there any change in it from previous time?
$745 cheaper this year.
Excuse me,
It's $745 cheaper this year.
I wonder why. I mean, you don't hear anything going down, it's always going up.
Yeah, they base it on how the employees are classed. It's based on, where you work, how hazardous your position is and this and that. And I went through and reclassed
Okay.
everyone, updated everything, and that made a difference.
Okay,
I'll make a motion, we do it.
Denzel made it. Is there a second? Second. Stanley second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, like sign. Okay, we've got several items affected by the animal shelter. Do you want to talk about it, Lindsay?
Well, I only know about A&E. Well, yeah, A&E. They need a copier for down there so they can make copies of their forms and scan stuff in, this and that. We've got a quote. It's the same thing as with the Wellness Center. We can either purchase or lease. I think we've kind of agreed the purchase along with maintenance agreement is the best option financially. But there should be a copy of that quote. And we'll need to approve to get the copier and if we're gonna purchase or lease is the first. That would be the first motion to make.
Has it proved out to be better to purchase than to lease,
Yes,
cost wise?
yeah.
Well, I'm sure that Kathy needs it over there. And if we can see our way through, we need to try to help her out. Do I hear a motion that we,
I'll make that motion.
Brandon made the motion?
I'll second.
That's it. You second, Anthony? All in
Is
favor?
that with maintenance agreement, purchase and maintenance
Purchase,
agreement?
yeah.
Okay, it needs to read that way.
This day and time, you can't make it without a copier. Even if you don't know how to operate it, and I can operate the one we've got there. If it consists more than pushing one button, I don't know how to operate it.
Talking about the carpet. First start.
Oh, maybe I correct.
Cassie, did she talk to you about the rabies voucher?
They've actually had a copy of the voucher. And basically what it is, it's Kentucky state law that requires the vaccination voucher to be issued prior to release. It's valid for 10 days, and the animal must be vaccinated before the expiration date. And the shelter is then reimbursed the veterinarian and with the presentation of the voucher.
Okay, I guess we need to approve that. I hear a motion to approve that.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Stanley made it, and Brandon seconded. No objection? All right.
Everybody in favor?
Yeah.
Yeah. Seems like these dogs are getting a whole lot of attention tonight.
Yes, they are.
Aren't they?
I think C and D kind of go hand in hand. Cassie, with the boarding fees, that was for like if somebody's personal
If they-
dog is picked up, correct?
Yeah, it's reclaimed.
And they come in to reclaim it, they will pay a fee, and I think it probably says
$10.
$10 per day for however long they've held it to help recoup the costs of what we put into the dog.
And they're also responsible for any veterinary fees.
And reimbursement for vaccinations, right? Because it's state law that they vaccinate every dog that comes through that.
Thanks.
I think that's right.
Boy.
So that, she needs approval for that.
Do I hear a motion, we approve this?
I'll make that motion.
Anthony made it, do I hear a second?
Second.
Brandon second, all in favor?
Aye.
Hold like sign.
Policies and procedures, there was nothing in place with the animal shelter on policy as far as just how the operations, I think there's a lot. I didn't really have time to go over it. She just got it to us today. I think it goes over day-to-day operations, how things are to be run, but it also discusses with the, does it discuss with the, if like you surrender your own dog, a lot of, maybe the boarding fees might be included in that.
50% around today, Cassie?
Yes.
Possibly there's a surrender fee would be included in that if it's passed. $50, if you surrender your own dog, it would be $50 unless it was already altered, and then it would be $25. And most animal shelters around have that. She based this off of surrounding counties' policies and procedures. We need to have something in place, and that's just,
This is it here that she's presented to us,
I think so.
policies, procedures, and operations.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Brandon, I made a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
John second, all in favor? Aye.
All right, now the big one.
Yeah.
Wolf County has reached out to us wanting to contract with us to use our animal shelter for their dogs. They were contracted with Estill County. They were paying $25 per dog. They just paid, they took a dog over there, it was $25 and that was it. I got to looking into surrounding counties, how they handle pricing for contracts for these services. If Brown County, they do a monthly, kind of like a monthly retainer where they pay $500 a month, whether they bring a dog or not, and then they pay $35 per dog. Estill County was the only other county that charged per dog prior to all this that went on. They ended up making the changes, like the rest of the counties in the state. They charge for a contracted county, for a county they contract with. It's based on their population and a set rate. So Estill County is charging $2.19 per person per their population. And so that's why they're looking elsewhere. It was gonna cost them about $15,000 to house their dogs with Estill. So they were wanting to find other options.
Is that a fee that's normal around Other counties
All
around $2 or
counties,
something like that?
all the counties do it. The average, the state average is $2.90. Estill County has one of the lower ones. That, I talked to Estill County's director, and they said that was put in place about 50 years ago. The state set, for it to base it that way, they set it at $1.50, 50 years ago. And they're charging, they chose the $2.19 is what their board agreed upon. And the state average is $2.90. National average was $3 to $5 a person, then multiplied by your population. So we would have the decision if we are interested in trying to contract with them and how we would choose to charge. If we would do a set rate or if we would do based on population and whatnot. And the contract I got from Round County with them, it made the county the dog come from responsible for all vetting, on top of paying the fee that they bring the dog in at. And it also held them responsible for any repairs and maintenance that had to be done to keep the building in code. They were responsible for a portion of that. I liked how their contract was based on how they done that. So we would have to decide if we are willing to take that on or not.
Did we get far enough along in the discussion to decide whether we would have to have more employment over there to take care of more dogs?
Kathy doesn't think so. She thinks that she could work her 2 part-time employees. She would have to work them to the max on their part-time, on the hours available, and she thinks it would be okay. As far as that, not having to hire more employment. But we don't have a very big shelter.
Have we got the capacity to hold them? That's what I was ready to ask.
What Wolf County told me, he said they averaged about 16 dogs a month. And I talked to Estill County, and they said last year they brought in over 200 dogs in the year. And he said a lot of the dogs are hard to move.
I'd rather just take care of the Moore County dogs, I believe.
I agree with you.
Because it's more expense, more dogs you
It
got,
is.
more trouble you got,
And Kathy does do a bang up good job over there around there.
The more you gotta move.
When you go in there, it don't smell like a dog pound.
No.
It don't- You'll be around very many dogs, they don't smell too good, do they? But,
More of a headache.
We don't need to.
There's no motion.
I believe there's no motion on it.
No motion.
I do feel sorry for the dogs, I'll put it like that,
Yeah.
but, I think we've got about all we can take care of.
It would bring up a lot of issue with helping hands, how they're helping our animal shelter, and, we can't guarantee that they would help to move the dogs of another county, and, it could bring up some issue with that.
Do other kennels have a relationship like we do with Helping Hands?
They do,
Or do they have-
but it's a little bit different, and it's something that kind of needs to be looked at with us and addressed a little differently, in my opinion. Other counties adopt their dogs out, and the dogs that don't move, they let rescues take them. They charge the rescues a pull fee. What they have into the dog for the vaccinations and stuff is usually what the pull fee is. So if you've got a dog that can't be adopted out, they'll contact these rescues and they'll pull the dogs, pay the $10, and they take the dogs and find their homes. They ship them all over. They also adopt their dogs out to the community. We haven't been doing that. Helping Hands takes every dog that comes into the shelter as soon as the 5-day hold is up on it, and they're sending it out. We could potentially bring in revenue. There are people that come down there interested in animals, in dogs, and unable to adopt them, and there is a little bit of revenue potential there.
She does a good job, or I guess it's the other lady too, helps her get rid of them because they don't.
Yeah, I mean, they do. They send them all
The
over.
other day, they down to 2
They
dogs,
really do.
and that's unusual, to be that few in number, Okay. Administrative code, you wanna talk about that too?
It's basically it's the annual,
It's that time of year that
Yeah.
the magistrates can make changes to anything in the administrative code. If no changes need to be made, they need to approve it.
I do need to change the cover code, or cover page. It still has Tim Conley on there, so I need to
I'll make,
change it.
I'll make a motion, we approve.
Second.
Reason.
All right, here, second to that motion?
What was the motion?
Leave it alone,
Leave it.
except change the
Except the cover page,
I'll
switch it
second.
from Tim Conley to Ellen Franklin.
I'll second that.
All right. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, like sign. Let's see, we also got the jail agreement with Big Sandy that we need to have approved.
It stayed the same?
Yeah. Jimmy Darrell was satisfied with it, so.
So moved.
All right, John made a motion, so here's second. Sammy second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, like sign. Okay, you got some bids for pipe and stone, you got any?
I think, yeah.
But they're still in the cabinet.
You'll be good, yeah. We need a bid sheet too, to write this stuff down. Bid sheet.
What?
And we need a bid sheet. I don't have one. Just write it down. You need to write it. Do you have paper with you? Write it down.
I can go to the next one.
If we've received some bids, you know,
Maybe we don't.
Let's do it. Is there two persons? I almost opened one, it wasn't marked.
Oh, is that what you was talking about the other day?
It was an envelope inside of an envelope, and the outer envelope wasn't marked bid. And I opened it and pulled the other one out, and it was marked. So I'll just stick it back in there. We could probably skip around to come back to that,
Yeah. You could come back.
save some time.
Tech Center.
the tech center, Mr. McGuire over there had asked, somebody to give us a bid on, sealing the parking lot. And I think somewhere in the neighborhood of $2,500, to, seal that parking lot over there. And I don't know where anybody, else, do we need to put it out there? I mean, it's not something you have to bid, but.
No,
we need to
it's-
get-
Is that striping it back too when they get done, or is that just,
No, that's just sealing.
so we have to have it striped after that?
Yeah. Was there another one in there from,
That's all I have the knowledge of, I'm sorry.
Okay. Bobby
There's a
Atkins?
Bobby Atkins.
I believe, I don't know what to say, but he left the envelope in the other day with what his bid was.
It was like right beside, it's what I put in the cabinet today.
And the cabinet I
That's what I stuck in there. It's in a little envelope. It says Bobby Atkins on the envelope.
This is from Kentucky Supply from Grayson. Yes, I guess that's their bid for stone and so forth. And then you got another one. $33, depending on what size the pipe is, up to 48-inch. $43.86 for the largest one, 48 inches. Total $124.51. That's, we want to look at.
Cassie, when you record that on that bid sheet, can I get a copy of that so I put it with the minutes?
All they bid on was the pipe, they bid on stone.
That's the only bid we had on pipe.
This other one here's from Hinkle, it's on stone. Their stone quote is anywhere from $12.80 up to $17.05 from Hinkle.
Do they bring a pipe to us from
No.
that place?
That price is for us to pick them up, and that's per foot price.
I don't guess we advertised it for them to deliver, did we? Or I don't guess it was designated either way.
I took the same thing that Linda did before, and I just tweaked it for this year.
How have we been doing it? That's the same place we had it at. We've been going and picking it up, or they just been delivering it to us and charging us a delivery bill?
Don't know. Is that a pretty good price? That's what they've given there? You all deal with more construction than some of the rest of us.
That's pretty close.
Going price.
I believe they go down and get that.
We go after.
I think we go get it, I believe.
I'm assuming we do for them to put that on there for us to pick it up anyway, but I'm not for sure. We only got one stone price, or one stone bid?
Yes.
I'll make the motion that we accept our bids.
Okay. Do I hear a second to that motion?
Do you have any more? That's it. That's it.
Oh, okay.
I'll second.
John made it, Nathan second. All in favor? Aye. Hold like sign. Might have been the amount that it is, we don't have to have it, we don't have to have the price bid on that, ceiling plot up there, do we?
No,
Has to be,
it's under 20,000.
I don't know, I didn't know Mr. Atkins did this kind of stuff. Same fella sells Little Debbie snack cakes, I think.
See, I don't have a clue how high that stuff is. I've never dealt with that.
Well, it's, not too bad. Ronnie McGuire had asked him to give us a price to seal that up there. And I think the school board is gonna seal their part of it, so we wanna get it all done. So his, one coat price, was $1,075. And two coats, $1,971.58. Let them look at it.
I think the best thing to do is just to get a couple more quotes,
Okay,
reach out and just try to get other quotes.
there's 2 or 3 more in the county that does that.
The fiscal court can
think that'd be fair to everybody if we got another, we got some more.
You're
exercise.
supposed to, you're
Yeah.
supposed to at least attempt to get multiple
We'd
quotes.
have to run it in the paper and advertise it and
No,
such.
we don't have to do it like a bid. We
No.
can just reach out and request
Yeah.
quotes.
What we gonna do about where, I think you read off the quote, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
It's a quoted price, it's not a bid price. It's under the 20,000.
Yeah, but everybody sure did that.
Everybody's gonna know what
Everybody else changed under bidding. Everybody knows how much you bid.
How much of that parking lot does that take in?
We never
there?
advertised to take a bid on it.
When you get up on the hill,
Like a bid.
it's to the left, out through there. I don't know what the size of it is, how many square feet. But it butts up against the school where they'll be fixing theirs. I want to get it all done before that's in again.
It don't, if it takes in that old parking lot, that seems like a pretty good price, you know.
Yeah. Let's see, there's one called Wolf Paving that does that, and that,
Illegal.
somebody else does that too. Who is it? Reisner's? Mark Reisner does it.
Stanford do it.
No, they don't do it anymore.
Oh, they quit?
Yeah, they don't do it. They did do it because they did mine a few years back. They don't do it now. But either we can take this gentleman's bid or we can ask for more estimates. But like you said, this has already been made public.
We never advertised it.
No, we didn't. Ronnie contacted him because he's been and done it. That
Technically,
Higgins boy has. And he contacted him to give us a price on it. That's what this is gonna
I don't think you should accept it without getting other people quotes or redoing it completely. And doing it like a bid. Because nobody else had the opportunity to try to put in.
get. No, they didn't.
I mean, they didn't have an opportunity.
Or we can reject
If
that.
you're gonna do that, just advertise in the paper to bid.
In the bid,
Fire away to
do it that way.
Have it, could you have him to measure it off? Or you could change that bid.
Yeah. Well, let's just reject this bid and tell him we'll bid it all over and run it in the paper like we do an ordinary bid.
So we need
Well, that really
motion
wouldn't be
advertise
anyway
bid.
to reject that, just a
It's
quote.
Quote and estimate on it's all it is.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it probably needs it. I don't know where it's ever been done in the past or not, I guess it has.
May I interrupt? I'm
Yes, ma'am.
sorry if this is, I wanted to ask something while we're on this. I know sealing and painting aren't the same thing, but the judge and I were discussing the parking lot and it's probably really hard to find a parking place now. Anyway, we've had a couple of complaints about the handicap spot and how hard it is to see and everything, et cetera. And I know the Board of Education had contacted us about striking the line to the library road or whatever. I know they'd agreed to do it, but I was just sitting here thinking, if you're gonna bid on that, or if we could get someone to, the parking lot up here, if we could get someone to just to paint out the spaces, especially mark we were gonna have 2 handicap spots. I think especially it's important now with the problem parking, and if we lease out that bottom part to the Head Start, we feel like one parking place for this building is not enough.
The
And
problem will get worse when they get down, if they get this, we haven't heard from them yet, whether they'll take it or
and
not.
not to pinpoint anyone, but there's a problem with,
Who owns the board of
you
education?
say people across the road or parking here and working, which that's fine, but it's not leaving any place for the.
We got the building and
people to
sidewalks.
come in.
We have ordered some signs to put out here for handicap parking on this top level. Now, some of our neighbors around have been using that, and people have come in and complained because they can't find a place to park. And they've got a legitimate complaints, they can't find a place. And particularly if it's an older person, they need, where they can get in and out. And I think we'll put up some signs that say, this is for, courthouse parking only, and see how we get along with that. But I don't know whether the people across the street have got enough parking spaces to accommodate all their employees or not. But most of us park away from the building. I mean, I park down here in the corner away from it. And we need to keep this open up here for people coming and going, I think. So put up more
Let them
signs.
block their gravel place out there. They
What?
hurt them for gravel
you know, about that much of a curb out there to go over.
That's what it's like.
And it's,
We never let them do that.
I wonder if we go back in there and open it up, I mean, cut some of that curb down, you reckon we
I'd
could?
say we could.
Take
They need to do something, go let.
Talking about coming in from the sidewalk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where the old library.
I'd say you'd have to have approval from the state to mess with their sidewalk and all that.
See, they got paid for that.
Mm-hmm.
Who's is in that? Is that the water district now?
Yeah.
They got money for that right away.
Well, I think we need to look into it and use it as parking, even if it's for.
No, I agree, we need it.
For us here or for somebody else, it needs to be. But, I'll see what I can find out about it and see what we need to do.
So you need a motion to bid that, sealing at the tech center.
Yes, we do. I overlooked that. Do I
Are
have
we gonna bid it just to seal it only, or to seal it and strap it back? 'Cause once you seal it, am I right on that? You have to paint the lines back on?
Yep.
Are we gonna
Ronnie
fix
has
it?
indicated that he wants to paint the lines back on himself. Custodian there.
Oh, he will?
Yeah.
Well, that's even better.
Yeah. So do I hear a motion?
Ronald,
Go
why
ahead.
couldn't he paint out here?
I'll make that motion.
Well, he might.
I mean, if he has the material, I'm just saying, I'm sorry, I forget I'm talking on
Oh, we'll let you talk all you want to, Lynn.
I'm not gonna do that anyway.
I'll make that
It's just a
motion.
thought,
All right.
that we've already ordered the signs for the handicap spots, and then to confine ourselves to get like, county business parking only.
Yeah.
But just to try to help everybody really, so if they want you to do a lot, that's fine, but.
Anthony's made the motion that we bid this ceiling out. Here a second.
Second.
All right. All in favor? Aye. Okay, John Brand, you want to talk about fire departments?
Yep, fire departments, like Irene was saying earlier, every fire department we got's struggling since coal service money's been out. Which I know they say we get to Holland, it may come back, it may not, because fire department's biggest expense is their insurance. And that coal service money they got, you know what I'm saying, each department got $5,000 to operate on, and they paid their insurance out of that, you know what I'm saying, then whatever's left for operational costs and gas and stuff like that. But if we don't step in and do something, we'll have fire departments either without insurance, or we'll have fire departments that's closed down. And I don't hold me, huh?
We don't have any fire
That's
departments.
what I'm saying, and don't hold me to it, if they take off in one of the trucks and they don't have insurance, and I don't know for sure, Irene might know the answer to this, it may very well come back on the county. If we don't have insurance and stuff like that on them. We're gonna have to do something for them, because I've been talking to Irene, trying to get insurance quotes and all that stuff, but there's really no fair way to do it. I mean, because fire departments do more than just answer house fires. They respond to wrecks, maybe somebody, your family, my family, somebody else's or whatever. But I'm gonna make the motion here that, and Lindsay looks and says that we can do it or whatever, which I've talked to Lindsay a little bit about it anyway. If we can afford it, I'm gonna make the motion that we give each one of our fire districts their 5,000, you know what I'm saying, coal severance money, you know what I'm saying, to add into our budget, which will come to 45,000, and our rescue squad, because they got the same thing, our 8 fire districts and our rescue squad. But the requirement will be, the first thing that they have to pay out of that will be their insurance. Then whatever, and some of the fire districts, it takes more than the 5,000 to even pay insurance. And some of the smaller ones, there's a little bit left over. But with what money's left over, I'm going to say it's just like the coal severance, what they was used to dealing with anyway. It could be used for operational purposes only, just how it was written up with coal severance money.
Are you gonna divide what's left over among the 9?
No, each department gets Each department gets 5,000, and it's their choice. If they see, because if we went and paid their insurance, that's really not fair, because some departments' insurance is a whole lot higher because they got a whole lot more. But they get their 5,000 to operate on, which we can't legally, you know what I'm saying, give them 5,000. But if they turn their receipts in, we can. Am I right on that, Lindsay? Because that changes it to some other thing. We have to personally pay, like the vendor ourselves, and they get 5,000 to operate on. first thing required is, if we ever want them to have insurance, that way nothing comes back on the county. Then whatever's left out of the county, if they've even got anything left over after they pay their insurance for the year, you know what I'm saying, they get that for operational expenses. I think like one of them, I think they get like $700 back. I mean, that'll buy them some diesel and fuel and stuff like that. But if not, we're not gonna have no fire departments.
I'll second that.
Have you looked into the budget ahead of time enough to know?
Yeah, I've been aggravating her about that this
Yeah.
week.
John?
We can. Something that needs to be addressed though is where it's a little different with the rescue squad because we do currently pay their insurance. So that 5,000, what we're paying already on their behalf, that would come out of that 5,000.
And they would get the remainder.
That's the fair way to do that,
Yep.
because otherwise they would get that whole 5,000 for operations because we're already paying their
And they would get the
insurance.
remainder.
That would have to come out of that 5,000.
They would get the remainder of their 5,000 for operational expenses.
Just like everybody
the
else.
rest of them.
Budget $5,000 for the fire departments and rescue. The insurance has to be paid first and the funds available upon receiving invoices.
Yes, then what other, if they have any money left
The rest
over
for
after
operation.
insurance is paid, it's used for operational purposes only.
That's
The
what
same
I
way
think.
that the code savers are showed up. I don't know if it needs to be 5,000 for each department, or if I need to make a motion to budget into the budget before we have second reading 45,000 for fire and safety. Which way is the best way that needs to be,
When I'll give these minutes
Yeah, go
tomorrow
ahead.
morning, get a copy of them, her either. If it needs to be changed, just tell her to make a note on it and I'll change it. Diesel's increased, is that okay? Yeah.
Would we get any discount by getting all of it at the same time? Eight
I'm sure we would because we get more of a group rate. But if there's any way, you know what I'm saying, if we get a group rate and we talk to them, you know what I'm saying, for them to let know, you know what I'm saying, you're getting a group rate, you're getting a 10% discount on all of it, but keep it to where each department actually knows what their insurance is. Because like I said, we're first talking about checking and seeing if we just paid all the insurances countywide, then okay, well these departments, they get a little money, a drain or something comes in, that's just gonna make our insurance go up because we're adding more to it. And that'll leave them back to operating on what they're used to operating on. And if they go to get something else, they know their insurance is gonna go up and that's gonna come out of their money they're already operating on. But I don't have a problem with getting a group rate, you know what I'm saying, if it takes 10% off the bill, but just where they break it down that we know what, you know what I'm saying, each department's going, that way they'll still get their operational expenses.
Okay, I feel like it'd be a good idea to do it if we can stand it. Yes, ma'am, go ahead, Irene.
All the insurance is due July 1.
Yes, I was gonna say that too.
All the fire departments, it has to be paid by July 1.
Okay.
And I was putting that in the budget, you know what I'm saying, for the upcoming budget, which takes effect July 1, and if that does, we're going to have to pay some insurances. In which we need to have,
Is there a grace period in there?
we need to have a meeting with all of our fire chiefs and explain that to
So we'll
them,
have to have at least a couple of weeks.
that they have to turn the receipts into the girls in the office, and it has to be paid from us straight to the vendor, because if we turn around and give them reimbursement back, that makes them governmentally funded or something like that, and that changes everything. But we need to set up a meeting with the chiefs or somebody representing.
Have a special meeting, didn't you?
Yeah, but that'll be to do the second reading of the budget, so any changes that go into that budget, I need to know.
Okay.
Well,
So I can
line item
add that.
45,000.
Yeah.
Okay, you made your motion?
Did you write up just 5,000 for each department?
All in
Total
favor?
number? Aye.
Opposed, like sign.
For insurance and any additional.
Insurance is the first thing to be paid out first, you know what I'm saying? And if they've got any questions, it goes back the same way
They
that
have to
the
present a
code.
receipt for an invoice to fill out the,
Yep.
yeah.
And it has to be turned, they do not go, well, I mean, it don't have to be
They
in
don't
their
get the
motion.
money, they'll go use the 5,000 out by giving her invoices.
But like I said, that part don't have to be in, I mean, we can talk to them about that, but whatever, just mainly to budget it,
Okay.
add that to the budget.
Okay, down to item number 15. We're moving right along, looks like.
Yeah, we all know.
Oh, you want to discuss that? Oh, that's what
Am I up again?
Did we decide about this raised business? Did that-
I've sent this out to everybody, y'all had plenty of time to go over it and look at it. decide what you want, the summary page on top, it just kind of finalizes it. And I goofed when I done the original draft on the budget. In the general fund, when I went through, and this is when I was in and out a lot with my mom when she was in the hospital, when I went through and totaled my retirement, my Social Security match, I didn't just do the general fund, I did all funds. So we've got extra room in there that would cover any of the raise projections because of that good mistake. And the road, I've got down there what the difference is from what I have budgeted and what it would cost if they're in parentheses, they're a negative. So it would cost us that much more if we went with that plan. And I will say that that number will change slightly because when I base salaries, I up everyone's. I just round it up based on their pay and their hours. I'll round it up. If it was 24.5, I'll round it up to 25. And I do that because you can't predict overtime and, you know, everything. So that covers your basis. It gives you a little wiggle room when you have overtime in your budget. And,
Excuse me just a minute. Did you need to talk to us some more?
Just for DPC, if you need me for that.
Yeah, I didn't want you to have to stay here if you need to drive very far.
If you need me to stay, I'm more than happy to stay. If you don't need me for that meeting, then I can leave.
You're welcome to stay. We're not trying to run you off.
No, I appreciate it. If you don't think you need me, I'll have that selection.
I don't think, do we have anything else we need to talk to them about?
no, I think we're good. I think we can handle it.
Okay.
But you're welcome to stay.
No, I'm fine. I'll go home. I'll see y'all next
Well,
week.
thank you
See
for
ya.
coming.
All right, thank you.
Now, continue on, Linda.
But that was all. I just said if I, you know, whatever I do, I'll bump it up, I'll round it up just to give that room. But it's up to your all's discretion. You've got a second sheet. One is general fund and jail because basically it's going to affect the general fund only on the raises. If they are green, they are retirement contributing. If they are orange, they are part-time employees. If they are blue, they are salary. And then I've got one separate for the road fund, and it just breaks down everybody and what kind of difference it'll make per person. Another decision that had to be made was if the raises were to affect everyone in the county, that would be your salary paid and, I mean, they would, everybody except your elected officials. Or if it is for your hourly paid only. That's a decision. And this budget's for the salaried also because that was how I had, you know, that was the best way to do it. You can always take away from easier and see what you're getting rather than adding to it. So, and any specific details you want on it, ask me. In my opinion, doing a actual cent raise and not a percentage raise is a lot more beneficial to your lower paid employees. Someone who makes minimum wage, you know, on a 25-cent an hour raise is going to make an additional $325 a year. But now if you put them on a 3% raise, which is the highest one, they're going to make $282.75 a year, whereas your higher paid is going to be anywhere from $600 to $1,000, just depending on where you work. It's just really, it's a lot more fair to everyone to do the cent raise, in my opinion.
So we need to have this closed session.
Well, that's why I put it on the very last of the agenda, so, because, you know, it's salary and it's paid, it's open record, but if you all want to take it into closed session to discuss details and specific persons, you can do that. That's why I did put it last. So if that's whatever.
Do I hear a motion that we have a closed session on this right here? I do.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Brandon made it. Here, second.
I think Anthony just said
You
yes.
second. Okay, all right. All in favor? Aye. All right, we'll have a, on this raised business, we'll have a closed session. Do I hear a motion, we go back into regular session?
I'll make that motion.
Denzel made it?
Second.
Stanley second. Okay.
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye.
No.
All right, read the note. Anthony. Before we voted on all of this, yeah. Everybody was out.
I've got down here, I don't like the way it's stated, motion to increase pay raise to 50 cents an hour. This will also include salary position.
Okay. Voted to raise all employees 50 cents on their, and include salary positions. That's what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to that effect?
I'll make that motion.
Brandon made it. Your second?
And we didn't discuss this, so I'll just explain real quick how I figured that for like my salary position where I work full-time, it's based on 40 hours. And for your part-time, it was based on part-time hours, 20, I don't know if I did it 20 or 24 on that.
All right. Brandon, you made the motion. Do I hear a second on,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. All right, item number 2.
Motion to hire William Curzon.
Yeah. Made a motion to hire William Curzon at the transfer station, mainly as a truck driver. I think he can operate equipment too, but that's mainly what his job was to be, was truck driver. Buster Lewis is going to retire last of August. And did you make that motion, Nancy?
I just, no,
I don't know if you read it, but did you make it?
just call for a motion.
Okay. I hear a motion to hire a truck driver.
I'll make that motion.
All right, Brandon made it. Here a second?
Second.
John second. All in favor?
Aye.
Hold like sign.
Who did you say you were hiring for that position?
William C. Oney.
That's all we did.
Okay. Anything else? I think Denver will buy him supper tonight.
Yeah, I'll buy. What's going up at the freezer so he can wait on me.
Well, do I hear a motion that we adjourn?
What about pay the bills?
Yeah, we need to pay the bills.
Motion to,
Motion made to pay the bills.
I'll make that motion.
Second made it. John saying all in favor?
Aye.
Yes, you can pay the bills one more time.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right, Denver made the motion to adjourn. Here second.
Second.
Stanley second. All in favor?
Aye.
Now we need a motion to go into the PPC. Is that right?
Yeah, what do you call that?
Public Properties
Public
Commission.
properties, you need to go into public properties meeting, pass the resolution for the AOC refunding,
Okay.
and then go out and be done.
You heard what Lindsay said?
So moved.
All right.
Second.
Motion made, second.
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye. All right, make the motion that we.
And then we have to make a
Adjourn that
motion to approve the AOC refund. Okay,
Okay,
I'll make that motion.
all right. Your second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Gotcha.
you get it all down then?
Got it all down.
All right.
I don't know.
Thank you for your attendance.